Hello, everyone. I should be coming through to you live for my first ever AMA session. Ask me anything. So hopefully when you guys start to watch this, if you have any questions about social selling, about LinkedIn, about sales, or even about me, just drop them into the comments. I'm going to try and get through as many questions today as possible. As always, as you're watching this, let me know where in the world you're tuning in from and what's going on in your world, what you've got up planned for today. But excited to answer some questions. So whilst I wait for this to sort of kick in, it always takes about 30 seconds for people to start actually seeing this and obviously commenting. I'm going to share a few little social selling tips just to kick this off. And then for everyone tuning in and watching this, just drop any questions that you want to ask me today into the comments box. And I will try and work through as many of these as I can in this live LinkedIn live session. So let me share a few quick tips. One of the things I'm noticing at the moment that's gaining some really good traction is LinkedIn polls. They launched a few months ago and had a bit of a mixed reception when they first came in. Some people sharing good polls, some people sharing not so good polls, but people that are sharing well-written, good questioned polls are getting some amazing engagement. I'm seeing people getting thousands of votes, which not only is great engagement from a form of content, but the insights that you can generate from a LinkedIn poll are amazing. You can get insights into your prospects, into your customers, into your buyers. So my first sort of tip and recommendation for today, if you haven't done one already, is have a think about doing a LinkedIn poll yourself. Think about questions that are going to be interesting and valuable to your prospects, but also interesting and valuable to you. One of the best things that LinkedIn's done with their poll sort of system is that to see the results, you have to vote. So if you're creating questions where people are going to be interested in the answers, then to get those answers, they have to vote, hence creating more engagement. So LinkedIn polls, tip number one, if you haven't done one already, I'd highly recommend you do. Good morning to Charlotte, Victor, and Maliki. We've got Romania, Bournemouth, and Dublin. So some exciting areas already. Hello to everyone who's just tuning in, by the way. This is my first AMA session, so ask me anything. So any questions you guys have around the world of social selling, LinkedIn, and sales, pop them into the comments and I will answer as many as possible. Got Sophia from Mauritius. Always blows my mind the amount of people that sort of log in from all around the world. I did a training session yesterday, and there was someone logging in from Barbados, which is definitely somewhere I would much rather be. So yeah, hello to everyone all over the world who's tuning in to watch this today. Again, any questions you have, pop them into the comments box. Any questions, LinkedIn, social selling, sales, or even me, feel free to ask away. We've got Istanbul, India, James, Murat, Sonu. Thank you for tuning in. Hello to everyone. Any questions you guys got, drop them in. Tommy from Macedonia. Lovely to see you all. I hope you're all having a good week so far. Okay, so tip number one was around LinkedIn polls. Oh, here we go, guys, coming up with a question around polls. What do you think about the amount of choices and the amount of characters you can use as a description per choice in the polls? And greetings from the Netherlands. Guy, hello, and thank you for tuning in, and great question. So going back to polls then. In terms of sort of amount of choices and characters, choices, again, if the question's good, having 2 options is fine, but obviously 4 options gives people more choice, provides you with more insight as well. So I try to use as much of the choices as possible, and I try to keep the questions relatively short. So I'm suggesting 1, 2, at a max 3 lines of text in a question. Again, if you're putting a paragraph as your question, you're probably going to lose a lot of people. It'd be too much for them to read. So as small as possible for the question. Again, 1 line of text, 2 to 3 at a push. Again, you just want to make sure it's the right question. And then obviously when you create the poll, you can add text above it as like a post normally would have, which is absolutely fine. You can add some text to maybe flesh out the poll a little bit, maybe add a bit of depth as to why you're asking it, what your thoughts are on that, maybe what you would be voting if you were voting yourself. Again, I wouldn't go too long with the text behind the poll, but keep the poll itself as sort of minimal and simple as possible. So even with the choices, again, keep them nice and easy. The easier it is, the more people are going to engage. Okay, now I've opened Pandora's box. Loads of questions are coming in, which is great. I'm going to have to try and keep on top of this. Dale's asked a great question. Would you advise sponsored ads? Question I get asked all the time between sponsored posts and Sales Navigator, the sort of paid premium options on LinkedIn. Regarding sponsored ads, I've tested these over the years. They work. I'm not going to deny it. They work, but they are very complex to get good results from. So I would recommend making sure you do your homework, do some thorough research into the best ways to create ads. I'm certainly not an ad expert on LinkedIn, would never claim to be. Everything I do is organic. So I'm fortunate enough to know how to create great results organically. But I've also seen people and companies do great things with ads. So there's results there. It's just about how you do it. What I would definitely recommend above all, before you even think about doing ads, is make sure you're really getting the most from organic opportunity on LinkedIn, so that you're creating good content. You've got personal brands being built, all of the stuff that you can do without having to sponsor ads that can generate significantly great results. I'd make sure you capitalize on that first. But if it's an avenue that you believe is going to yield you good results in your industry, then I would recommend just looking for companies and businesses that are utilizing them well, and getting insights from them. Look for the people that are getting results. Don't just look for the people that are telling you how to do it. Look for the people that are actually getting good results from it, because plenty of experts out there in all fields of subjects. The key is to look for people that are actually getting the results. Right, let me try and catch up on some of these questions that I have missed. And I'm going to counter on Dale's question about ads. Also on Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is an amazing tool. All of the premium upgrade functions on LinkedIn are amazing. They're expensive, in my opinion. Well priced if you use them right, don't get me wrong. But I know for a lot of people and businesses, it's quite an investment to put in. They're great. But again, make sure you're doing all the organic stuff. There is so much you can do on LinkedIn for free. I would make sure you maximize on that. I see a lot of people and companies spending a lot of money on Sales Navigator, not doing any of the free stuff. They still have terrible profiles. They're not creating good content. They're not building personal brands. They're using the features of Sales Navigator, but they're missing out on so many things they could be doing for free. So again, there's always a lot of stuff you can do without having to chuck money at it. And then when the time is right, investing money and making sure you utilize them right is the best way through. Okay, Charlotte, how do I attract ambitious go-getters to my team? Keep telling my story of how I work hard, but keep getting people who aren't prepared to work. Best tips, please. Charlotte, I feel your pain, having recruited salespeople for many years. I know how hard it is to find good people. I think you're doing the right thing in terms of sharing your story of your work ethic. And I would certainly keep doing that. I would keep building a personal brand around working hard, around going the extra mile, around pushing past some of the limitations that a lot of people have. And then what you want to look for are people that are doing similar things. So look for people who are leveraging LinkedIn to build personal brands, whether they're looking for roles or not, but then bring that into your recruitment process. So create questions or activities that give people the opportunity to demonstrate that work ethic. One of the things that always shocks me are the amount of people that come to interviews having done no research. And something that I've always done in any role that I've ever pursued, sort of prior to working for myself, I would do an immense amount of research. I would come in with pages of research and things that I could bring to the table to show the effort I put in for recruiting, for wanting to be recruited for that role. And especially this year in 2020, where, unfortunately, there are a lot of people now competing for roles. If you want to stand out, best place to do that is going the extra mile. So Charlotte, in terms of attracting ambitious go-getters, another great thing you can do is highlight how great a place it is to work at. So as well as sort of showing how hardworking you are, make sure you boast about the great sort of benefits that your team and people that work for you will have. The more you showcase it as a great place to work, the more attractive you make it to better levels of candidates out there. So share those things. I love it when companies share recognition. So actually posting on LinkedIn recognition for their team, managers and leaders doing that. Not only is it motivating for the team, but it also sends out a message to other people that, this is the company you're going to work for. Talk about all the great things they get, the benefits, the perks, the equipment, used to be really popular. You see them every so often now, but when you get new starters and they take those little photos on their desk of their new laptop, phone, something branded notebook, things like that, it's great because it shows what an exciting place it is to work. Okay, let's keep going through these questions. What's the best way to introduce and connect prospects over LinkedIn? So, no, good question. In terms of best ways to connect, again, assuming you're doing targeted searches, so the people you're trying to connect are sort of qualified, pre-qualified prospects. One of the best ways to connect is to go through their activity. So before you even click that connect button, you can either follow them first and start following the content they're sharing and engaging with on LinkedIn, or you can just jump onto their profile, go into their activity feed and look for their recent content over the last sort of couple of weeks and do a bit of engagement first. I would click like and comment on a few posts, and I do this with authenticity, by the way. This isn't some sort of quickly like, comment, done. Make sure you're actually reading the content and providing good contributions to it. Need to do this properly. And then send a connection request where I've warmed them up to an extent, probably 2 or 3 days later. Give them a chance to get used to my name in a positive way. So when I do send a connection request, there's a significantly greater chance they're going to accept, because I'm not just Dan, the cold salesperson they've never heard of before, but I'm Dan, the person who's been engaging in their content in a positive way and authentic way. And you increase the chance that they're going to then accept that connection request. And then what you want to do is look for opportunities to start a conversation. Again, you should be able to find quite a few opportunities just by looking through their profile, looking for information about their company, their role, going through their activity feed. I would take it a step further and look at other people that work at that company. So look at the people in their wider team and also the wider business, and do a bit of research into their sort of content, because they'll share different insights that you can kind of piece together. And sometimes it may be beneficial to use one of them as a route in, if that makes sense. So instead of going straight to messaging the decision maker, why not message someone slightly lower down in the hierarchy, gain some insight and information about that decision maker, and then use that as a route in. It can, have a significantly positive impact on increasing sort of chance of getting a reply, and a positive reply at that. So a few different angles to go at, but I would definitely recommend one of the best ways to gain connections is to use their content. If they're not active, then I would look to research the wider sphere. So go beyond LinkedIn and look at other social networks that they might be more active on. Or if not, certainly looking again to their wider team and the website for those sort of insights. There's buying signals all over the internet. Jude, what is your recommendation on how many times? I should probably show these questions, and then that comes up. It looks quite cool. What is your recommendation on how many times I should post content on LinkedIn? My recommendation, Jude, is once per day, maximum 1 post per day. There are some LinkedIn experts that suggest more than once a day. LinkedIn has they rarely give away sort of insights like this, but they have said, posting more than once a day goes against the algorithm. And I've tried and tested this. I do it every single year, and the results kind of back it up. Posting more than once a day tends to have an overriding negative impact on your previous posts. So 1 per day, in my experience, is the optimum amount. And I would recommend, ideally, for someone who wants to build a brand and be consistent, once a day, Monday to Friday, is your ideal. If you've not posted before, or you've only posted once per week, to get started, I'd go with 2 or 3 times a week. Don't just jump in. Going from 0 to 5 posts a week is a big jump. Start with 2 to 3 and warm yourself up. Get used to it. Practice, learn, from posts that don't perform well. Look for the posts that do perform. 2 to 3 times is a good startup, and then get to that sort of Monday to Friday. And then once you've got momentum, you're building a brand. And if you want to take it a step further, then posting on weekends is also proving to be a very beneficial thing as well. Weekend engagement is continuing to rise on LinkedIn. So posting on a Saturday and a Sunday is proving to be quite a popular thing. So again, a lot of people just work Monday to Friday. I'm not here to tell you have to do content on weekends, but for those of you that are able to or want to, there are certainly benefits to be had. Weekend engagement is at an all-time high from my sort of experience. So great question, Jude. Okay. let's bring up Matt's question. Great question, Matt. Have you any suggestions as to how you can encourage a marketing department to be more social rather than posting the same corporate style content? Matt, this is a problem for a lot of companies, and it's part of a transition. Salespeople are struggling with the transition as much as marketing departments are, this sort of transition into sort of socially friendly content. In terms of encouraging them to be more social, one of the best things I sort of throw in front of marketing departments are examples of really strong personal brands. So individuals creating their own content and driving significantly better engagement. There are some sort of sales reps that are generating more engagement and growing bigger audiences than the marketing department are doing on the company pages. So when you highlight some of those examples and showcase real examples of the types of content that's generating the engagement and comparing it to some of the content that the marketing department are publishing, there is nothing more eye-opening than real facts and results and data and insights. So it's one thing if you go into a meeting and just say what you think, chances are they'll probably put their barriers up because it's essentially telling them what they're doing is wrong, which a lot of people do. So if you could go in and just say, look, times are changing, LinkedIn's changing, and having done a bit of research, if you look at our posts on the company, we tend to be averaging 5 to 10 likes per post. And actually, I was looking at a similar company, and just one of their sales reps is sharing posts, and their average per post is 50 to 100 likes per post, and the type of content they're sharing is vastly different. Things like that can really sort of open eyes and hopefully let ego kind of drop out the picture and say, look, I just want us as a team to start creating better content. So I'd look to show examples is kind of one of the best things. And obviously don't just focus on personal brands, but look to highlight companies that are doing it well as well, and look at the types of content they share. One of the best, again, other great ways that I do this is to bring up a company's feed, and 70-80% of the time this is the case, but 8 out of 10 posts are the boring corporate style content. And then what you see them do is they'll post a random photo of the team or a screenshot of the team, and the engagement rockets. So where they average maybe 5 to 10 likes a post, when you put a photo up, suddenly they're getting 20, 50, 100 likes. So even though they're probably doing it and actually it's there in their own feed, sometimes just bring it to their attention and saying, look, I think we've got the balance out of proportion. Maybe if we made sort of 8 out of 10 posts, these sort of posts, we're going to get better engagement when we actually share promotional stuff. So yeah, so sort of my tips on that. Go with the results. Okay. Chris, we got Chris Murray in the audience. Let me show Chris's answer here. I had a great catch up with Chris yesterday. Chris, for anyone who doesn't know, I posted about it earlier this week, is the author of my all-time favorite sales book, The Extremely Successful Salesman's Club. This is a new cover he's just released with. Chris has made a great contribution to Charlotte's question. I like this: audition rather than interview. Find people who deserve to be a member of your wonderful company. And I like that transition from that sort of formal interview to an audition. Make it exciting. Give them a chance to kind of highlight their positive attributes and their sort of work ethic. But look, I'll add a point to this, having again interviewed hundreds and hundreds of salespeople over the years. Unfortunately, given the nature of the role, some salespeople, and even those that aren't actually good at sales, can be good at interviewing for sales roles. Sometimes they can talk the talk, and I've seen too many companies hire the wrong people because they're not asking the right questions. So in terms of hiring for good work ethic, asking someone, what's your work ethic like? Of course, they're going to tell you what you want to hear. Oh, I'm a hard worker. I'll work 24 hours a day. They'll tell you everything you want to hear. And then they get into the job and they're rolling up at 5 minutes past 9, spending half an hour making a coffee and chatting to everyone before they get started. Again, look for changing some of the questions to try and sort of bring out real answers, or challenge them when they give answers like that. Sometimes you want to try and cut through the rubbish that some people come out with when it comes to interview phases. But Chris, thank you for jumping in on the live feed today. Great to see you, and Charlotte, acknowledging that. Philip, what's your number one tip for reigniting a conversation that went dead on LinkedIn? Great question, Philip. And not just dead conversations on LinkedIn, but you get dead conversations through phone, email, people that do go cold. One of the best things I can recommend is try different strategies. If we're looking at messaging, for example, let's say you had a conversation, text-based conversation that went dead on LinkedIn. I'd recommend trying an audio or a video message. Obviously, You have to look at why the conversation went dead. That's a separate point before trying different styles. There may be a reason it went dead. Were they not ready? Did you kind of reach a point in the conversation where you struggled to keep that conversation going? Look at why it went dead in the first place and try and think about sort of opportunities that could reignite it. So let's say they weren't ready to buy, depending on how long it's been since you've had that last sort of bit of communication. Look at what's changed in their company since then. Again, don't forget all this information. A lot of this information sits on LinkedIn. Just go through their activity feed. Again, look at the wider company, the team, the company page, do some research and just look for buying opportunities or conversation starting opportunities. Something may have happened that you can then jump in and reignite that conversation. Once you've got that, then maybe look at transitioning the conversation to something slightly more creative. So sending an audio message, sending a video message. Beauty of a video message, and if you use something I'm using a lot of at the moment is Vidyard, you can create a video where, let's say you found something in their content feed or on their website, you can record a video where you're sort of in a little circle in the bottom of the screen. You've got their LinkedIn profile, their activity feed, their website in the background, and you're able to then really reference something that you think is important or valuable. Just takes it to a whole new level of personalization. So again, going back to reigniting it, find some good reason to reignite it. And, if it's only been dead a week and nothing's happened, then you may just want to try and think outside of the box and try and think of something that might spark it. Maybe reference a customer you've worked with recently or a result you've delivered for a customer recently that was quite impressive or quite exciting that might get them sort of reinterested, if that makes sense. Put yourself in their shoes. Think about why it's gone cold for them. Be empathetic, show empathy. There's probably a reason that they've gone cold, a justified reason. It's now your job to try and find something to bring that back to life. And if it's not the right time for them, if they're not in a position to buy, again, there's not a lot you can do about that. You can't force them to want or need your product or service. Best thing you can do to sort of counter that and keep them in the loop as such is build a personal brand. Keep sharing content. Make sure, if you're not already, that you are connected on LinkedIn. And as long as you're out there putting good, engaging content on a regular basis, it will keep them warm because they will be seeing you and your name on a regular basis. So hopefully at a point when either you've got something to start that conversation or they may be in a position to buy, at least then you're at the top of the list and someone that they're likely to think of. A few people, Jude bought the book yesterday after my post, which is great. Babita, do you find others' posts funny too? Assuming you ask if I find content humorous, I find a lot of content humorous. As much as I create thousands of memes, I consume thousands of memes. I was actually thinking of, I don't know if anyone else is following Corporate Bro. He shares some hilarious content, takes humor to a whole new level. So, there's tons of great content out there and I'm all for the memes. I love it when people send me memes and I am constantly not just creating them, but also consuming them. Okay, Sue, great to see you. A lot of love for Sue. What would you do to promote your business if you were to move region? So again, I get a lot of people asking when they move companies or they move roles, and obviously what they've got historically is a brand or an audience built around a specific sector, or in Sue's example, a region. So if you'd built a brand in the Midlands, or if you'd built a brand in the UK and then you moved to the US, what do you do to kind of promote and transition that? Again, the key is just to start making noise about your new location, region, business, product, etc., and then start to build your audience and brand around this new area. I wouldn't wipe out the past. It's not going to go anywhere. But in terms of promoting it, I would just make some positive noise about it. Document the journey. So document the process from going from the Midlands to Devon, for example, as Sue's put in the question here. So document the whole process, share the journey, let people in on that. And then as you move into Devon, then fully immerse yourself into that Devon sphere. Make sure you're following all the relevant pages in the relevant groups, growing your network on a daily basis of people then based in Devon, decision makers, prospects, other industry relevant people, and making sure your content as frequently as possible is very much focused on that new area. But moves and transitions are great. people like to follow the journey. They want to follow your journey or your business's journey. So when you do make change, and that could be introducing a new product, changing location, expanding, let people into that journey. I saw a great, there's a great recruitment company, Venetrix. They've recently got some roles in the US. So they've been making some amazing noise around these new roles and the sort of company's growth to now becoming really international. And if you go to their page and look at the team that work there, they're all sharing videos, waving US flags, and doing a lot of US based promotion. And it's great because people have followed that journey. They're seeing them grow, they're seeing them expand, and now their contentt's really pushing the fact they have roles in the US. So a great place to look to. Check out Venetrix, Elaine Tyler and the team there, fantastic. Victor, fantastic question. I love this question. Any specific best hours to post? I did some training yesterday, and this was one of the topics we covered. My stand on this is quite simple. Worry less about when to post and worry more about what you post. LinkedIn did used to be a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 platform, and there used to be very key slots in the day that would, have a significantly better impact on engagement. Now, and certainly for the last year, 2 years, LinkedIn has become a fully fledged social media network that's 24/7. So you can post something pretty much any time on any day. And if the post is good, you'll get good engagement. And I test this constantly and consistently on a weekly and monthly basis. But yeah, I will post at different times on different days. And at the moment, the differences in engagement are minimal. You tend to see slight spikes posting on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And usually the AM is the better slot. So anywhere between 8 and 10 AM seems to be the sort of peak time to post. But I mean, the engagement increase is slight. It is minimal. So I would certainly recommend putting the effort into what you post as opposed to when. Try and share content when it's fresh. So if you have an idea, if you've got something you want to say, if you've got a story you want to share, then share it. Don't think, oh no, it's Wednesday, it's 10 o'clock, I've missed the slot, so I'm going to wait till tomorrow. If you've got something to say it while it's fresh. Because if you come back to it tomorrow, chances are you're not going to have that same energy you had for it. I've tried posting things pretty much at all hours of the day, any days of the week. And if the post itself is good, you will see good engagement. So worry more about what you're posting and don't worry too much about when. Slight increases on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Okay, catching up on the questions. This is one of the difficult challenges is then scrolling and looking at questions. Okay, Kevin, good question. Where would you recommend to get best self-educated in sales, in particular business development, online lectures, etc.? Cheers. Great question, Kevin. For anyone who's new in sales or looking to learn, there has never been a better time to learn sales. Information is so readily available. Again, when I go back to when I started in sales, there wasn't really social media. There wasn't podcasts. There certainly weren't as many books back then as there are now. There are so many places to go to. So first of all, I would recommend focus on your industry. So I would look to sort of connect and learn from the most relevant people, which are either other salespeople in your business and obviously the top performing salespeople in your business. I would want to learn from your target customers and your prospects. So I would be learning from them, researching them, talking to existing customers and trying to gain as much knowledge from them. So learn your industry, learn from people who are performing best in your industry. And if you want to take it a step further, then look at your competitors and look at the salespeople excelling in your competitors' businesses. Just understand what it is they do. What are they doing on a daily basis? What is their tone? What is their process, their strategy? Learn from them. The people that are getting results selling your product or service, the most valuable people. Then looking at the wider sales industry, you are spoiled for choice. There are so many podcasts, YouTube channels, sort of free webinars, amazing books. There is too much resource out there. So again, just look for the ones that are going to be most relevant and valuable to your industry and what it is you sell. But look at the big ones. They're big for a reason. So in the podcast world, you've got the Salesman podcast with Will Barron, pretty much the biggest sales podcast out there. It's big for a reason because not only does Will have like the biggest library of interviews that you can go back and watch through, he interviews the best people. Brutal Truth of Sales podcast with Brian Burns, In the Arena with Anthony Iannarino. There's loads of great sales podcasts out there and new ones coming up through as well. The amazing Chris Murray has a great podcast. Sam Dunning has a great podcast. Too many for me to list, but there are tons out there. So yeah, focus on your industry first and then look at the wider sales sphere. There is so much content. I am forever reading books, reading blogs, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube interviews. There is no end to the amount of resource out there. And do that. And then I put a post out yesterday, learn. But the most important part is then you take that learning and you apply it, go and practice it. So that's the other best place to learn, is to go and do. If you want to learn how to make great cold calls, listening to great cold callers is great, but the only way you're really going to learn is by going out and making cold calls. If you want to become great at LinkedIn messaging, then obviously read the book, learn, but go out and send messages. The best place to learn is by actually doing. So learn, apply, practice, and repeat. And you'll be doing that forever, because I'm still learning. Even the best people out there, they're still learning as the world continues to ever change. But great question, Kevin. Okay, this is fun, by the way. I hope you guys are enjoying this. This is slightly different to my usual style, where I would just deliver thoughts and insights, but I'm quite enjoying these questions. The questions are great, by the way. Keep them coming through. You'll probably go for another 15-20 minutes on this session, but I'll do more of these. If you guys are enjoying this, by the way, let me know in the comments. Click like on the video. If you guys enjoy this, I will do more of these. James, great question. What type of content gets you the most views and engagement? Really interesting question, because a lot of people have very strong opinions on this, and obviously the numbers don't lie. So I'll give you two insights into this. Number one, on the daily sales. So 630,000 followers sharing a whole variety of content. The content that gets the most engagement right now, it used to be memes, funnily enough. It's quotes, it's motivational quotes. Motivational quotes are driving significantly greater engagement than memes. New, very funny memes will get good engagement, but motivational quotes on a consistent basis are definitely getting the engagement. And I think that then ventures into personal sort of audiences as well. I can't remember who it was. Someone posted an amazing, insightful bit of content, and it really struggled to get good likes and views. And so they posted something the following day saying, "What's wrong, LinkedIn? I'm trying to give you value. What do you want? Motivational quotes?" And that's the unfortunate reality. It's a social media network. Nothing wrong with a good motivational quote. Polls, as I mentioned at the start of this Ask Me Anything session, polls are doing really good. Good polls. I'm seeing getting thousands of votes. That's really strong engagement, beneficial for your audience as much as it is beneficial to you. Things that are also still getting good view counts and engagement are long form text-based posts. So those long story posts that are stretched out with the gaps, the spaces in between the lines. If you tell a good story and it's relevant, again, some of those are getting very, very strong engagement numbers. There is a lot of content at the moment that's getting a lot of engagement, which are sometimes they're copied and pasted from other people. Sometimes they're stories that are very, very personal. They take that personal story to a whole new level and highlight some significant challenges. Again, don't try and copy that or manipulate that. If you've got a story like that to share and you're comfortable sharing it, then by all means. But I see a lot of people trying to game off of that and use those sort of trending posts for their own benefit. Don't try and play a game with your audience. If you've got stories to share those stories, but just stick to giving value. Go out there on a regular basis and just try and give value. As long as you're creating good, engaging content that's valuable to your audience, you'll get good engagement. But some insights there into what's performing best. Video still doing good, live doing good. They're all doing good. Don't choose one over the other. That's my biggest tip with content, is variety. Use a variety of content forms. So I did a photo post on Monday. I did a text-based post yesterday. Today I'm doing a LinkedIn Live. Do a variety. I will always and have always mixed it up. That's the one secret to consistent success in a long-term game. I have been growing a personal brand now for 6, 7, 8 years. To do it consistently, you have to mix it up. You have to be sharing a variety of forms. If you just banging out one type of content, you might get a short climb over a 6 to 12 month period, but it will plateau. People want variety. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee very quickly, but thank you to everyone who's asking questions, and I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I don't know if anyone here watches Morgan J. Ingram's Muffins with Morgan on a Saturday. brilliant idea, great concept. And, Morgan's one of the people I respect massively in the sales arena. His content is absolutely amazing, and he shares some of the best insights out there. But I loved his Muffins with Morgan. So I was thinking today, as I was sort of putting together this AMA, I thought, God, what can I do? Something with Dan. And I was struggling to think of what it could be. Obviously, it could be drinks with Dan, but I don't really want to be drinking at this time of the morning in the UK. I thought about dime bars with Dan. I'm quite fond of a dime bar, or Dame bars as they're called now. So I don't know, any ideas of what obviously begins with D that's appropriate that could be done as part of this conversation? I was trying to think of something cool. Morgan's lucky, he can have muffins. I'd love to have muffins. I don't know. I have to think on that one. Okay, let's get another question going. Okay. Great question. When do you think is the best time for going live and webinars, during business hours or after work? It's an interesting one, actually. I see a lot of engagement in both. So I've done after work webinars, after hours working webinars, and peak, like I'm doing this sort of in a peak time. I've done this a little bit earlier than I would usually do. Normally I'd do it at 10. And I thought I'd jump in at 9:30 for people that might be booking into meetings or sort of working sort of 10 onwards. Again, I would just sort of test it, try different things. It'll be different for different audiences, different industries. From what I've experienced, it is minimal differences between working hours and non-working hours. You will just reach different people. There will be people who will only do things like lives and webinars in working hours, because once they finish, that's it, laptops off, LinkedIn's away, they're home with their families. Equally, there are people that are busy in the day and they tend to use social media and lives and watch webinars and stuff outside of working areas. So I think you've just got two different audiences. They're both very big. They're both very beneficial. And obviously the ultimate sort of answer is to do both. Do some during the working times and do some outside of the working times. You've got two ponds of fish. If you want to catch more fish, then fish in both of them. Clint, first of all, thank you for buying my book. I hope you enjoy reading it. Do let me know what you think. But great question. Would you recommend investing in LinkedIn Premium? I am undecided. There are so many people. I get asked this all the time. LinkedIn Premium, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, they are amazing tools and well worth the money if you use them right. It's no different to the gym. You can pay 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds a month for gym membership, but unless you go in there and use it properly, you're not going to benefit from it. And these premium LinkedIn accounts are exactly the same. You can throw money at them, but unless you use them properly, you're not going to see good results. So first of all, Clint, I would definitely make sure you're using all the free options first. So make sure you're building a personal brand, sharing great content. You've got a great profile, all these things that you can do without premium LinkedIn. Make sure you're really capitalizing on those. Then, if you are thinking about doing it, I would certainly look for training on how to do it properly, how to get the most from it. I would, recommend learning how to get the most out of those tools. And then obviously when you do get access to it, make sure you build it into your strategy, into your routine. You don't want it to be something that you log into once a week or once a fortnight. You want it to become a regular thing. The more you put into it, the more you get out. No different to a CRM. Companies spend insane amounts of money on a CRM. They don't train their sales team how to use it properly, and they don't coach them to use it on a consistent, regular basis. So they don't get results from it. But the companies that do invest in good training and that do make sure that the managers and the teams are being coached and supported in using it on a regular basis, then they get more from it. The more you put in, the more you get out. So yeah, I would do a bit of homework first. Make sure you're doing all the free stuff. And if it is something you're looking to go through, then, try and look at learning how to do it properly. I'm going to be scheduling in a webinar on Sales Navigator, either December or January time. So just keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be sharing some real top tips on how you can get more from Sales Navigator. And I'm going to be sharing some more posts around that as well to help people that are paying for it. Okay. Some of these questions are great, by the way. Honestly, these are amazing questions. I'm kind of glad I've done this because it kind of prompts the opportunity for me to share some hopefully beneficial insights. Scott, great question. Can you give a little insight into hashtags on posts? I know the value on Instagram, but how should I use them on LinkedIn, number, how to research, etc.? It's a really great question because on Instagram, for example, hashtags define the success of a post. On LinkedIn, it's very different. Hashtags don't define the success of a post. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. Chucking in 10 to 20 hashtags on a post on LinkedIn is not going to help you get more engagement. In fact, it will be counterproductive. It will have the opposite effect. Hashtags have very minimal, if any, impact on engagement when it comes to posts. I've done this post with hashtags, post without hashtags, minimal difference. Again, focus on the post, not the hashtags. However, what hashtags do and how they are used on LinkedIn is that people search for those keywords. And so if you've got the hashtag into your post, then it will jump through to the top of the pile. People also follow hashtags, and some people will search through their the hashtags that they follow to look for the latest content. So it makes your content more visible. Doesn't have a huge impact on engagement, but it makes it more visible. So when your prospects, customers, peers are searching for those subjects, then it just means you'll stand out. In terms of best practice, 2 to 3 hashtags per post is the recommended amount. And I think LinkedIn themselves suggested this. So 2 to 3 is good, 4 at a push, and just make sure they're relevant. So I will always tend to stick to the same ones, which for me are the most relevant. So hashtag social selling, which is on the t-shirt, hashtag sales, and hashtag LinkedIn. On a Sunday, I've started a new Social Selling Sundays series where I sort of share insights on social selling and LinkedIn tips. So I've got the hashtag Social Selling Sunday. So I'll have that one on a Sunday to create something that people can then follow. So hope that gives you some insights into hashtags. They're good, but very different to Instagram. Ooh, okay. Someone who's anonymous, who's your barber? Very interesting question. Kind of longer than it would usually be. This is the Dan Disney style. Chris Murray, yes, this is a good idea. Donuts with Dan. Why didn't I think of donuts? I love donuts. Okay, unless someone has a better one, I'm going to look through these comments in a minute. Chris, you might be the winner with the suggestions and have made my day because I do absolutely love donuts. Krispy Kreme, here I come. Is there a better donut out there? Okay, let me just go back through some of these questions. Again, thank you to everyone who's asking questions. Really, really great. Here's a good one. Love recommending books. Jude, can you recommend 3 books? Bought yours and Chris's. Which other books would you recommend? Well, thank you for buying my book, and I really hope you enjoyed Chris's. No doubt that you will. Okay, 3 books. I'm going to share with you 3 books that are my all-time favorites. But I'm going to try and find them very, very, very quickly. So this one is one I read on holiday, about 5-6 years ago. Had a huge impact on my career. It's The 25 Sales Habits of Highly Successful Salespeople by Stephen Schiffman. I'm going to try and pronounce people's names. This is one of my favorites. It's small, as you can, I'm trying to make it so you can see how small it is compared to other books. Not massively thick, but it's just so powerful, so impactful. So recommendation number 1, 25 Sales Habits of Highly Successful Salespeople. Number 2, and I don't think I've got a physical copy of it because I bought it digitally, but book number 2 is Sales EQ by Jeb Blunt. Sales EQ just blew me away. The insights it has, EQ, empathy, emotional intelligence, such a big part of sales, and definitely one of the best sales books I've read. 3, and there are tons I'd recommend, by the way. I could probably do a list of 20. The next one I'm going to recommend, which certainly has had the biggest impact on me recently, is 5 Minute Selling from Alex Goldfein. This only came out last month, and I'd already started applying some of the sort of techniques in this book, and it's helped me generate sales. So this gets into that top 3 because it's actually helped me make money, which is important when it comes to a sales book, that you can actually take what you've learned and apply it. So 5 Minute Selling, Sales EQ, and 25 Sales Habits, my book recommendations for today. Maybe every time I do one of these sessions, I'll recommend other books because, as you can probably tell, I'm fond of a good sales book. So Jude, thank you. Great question. Ashley echoing, by the way, that posts at the weekends working well. Again, I'm finding it too. Polls at the weekends, quite popular, pretty much all forms. As I said, Muffins with Morgan, Morgan J. Ingram's sort of series is lives that he does on a Saturday. So proof that engagement is there. Okay, let's look. Oh, Chris has put some suggestions as well. Let me just share this quickly. Chris has shared some recommendations. Big fan of a couple of oldies. Zig Ziglar, yeah, Stephen Covey, Jim Rohn. Take a look at their YouTube videos too. So motivational, still highly relevant. It's very true. A lot of these greats, a lot of what they're saying is as relevant now as it was back in their sort of prime. So thank you, Chris. Great recommendations. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, we've had some other ones. Danish pastry. Do you know? So I thought about this. I live in a village and there's a little shop. And I didn't know if they'd have any Danishes, but that was actually going to be my go-to today. Was okay, Danishes with Dan. I do love a good Danish as well. So I'm loving this. Pastries are the common theme. Ashley, a great one. Delve deeper with Dan. I like that. Going deeper into subjects. Delve deeper with donuts. Maybe I don't want to win best of both worlds there. Joe on a similar one. A dive in with Dan. I like it. So some really, really, really good ones. James, are you putting out a replay to this webinar? I want to share it with the team. James, this will be on my feed. So this sits on there. I will download the recording and put this onto my YouTube channel. So I'll share a link with that. Search Daniel Disney on YouTube. You should find me pretty easily. But this will be on my feed. So this remains as a piece of content. So if you want to share it with the team, there will be a link to the post that you can share. And if you can't find it, pop me a message and I'll send it across. But equally, if they just go onto my profile, go onto my activity, they'll be able to find the video. This will sit on there. Dapper Dan, thank you, anonymous LinkedIn user. Okay. Gunnar, great to see you. Huge fan of Gunnar with the owl on his name. He works at Hootsuite and the owl is their logo. And I quite like the little emojis, something I'm playing with at the moment, beginning of your name. Good idea with your hashtag. Follow it. Social Selling Monday. Already 99 weeks in a row. I didn't know there was a Social Selling Monday. I'm going to be following that as well now. Always great to see expanses. David, what does a guy have to do to win a free book? It's a good question. I do book giveaways maybe once every couple of months. So I've just done one. So I probably won't do one probably till December, which would make probably nice timing for Christmas. I'll do a nice Christmas giveaway on books. So if you want to win a free one, wait till December. But at £9.97, I like to think it's good value for money as well, as are a lot of sales books. I don't think I could class any sales book as not being worth the money it costs. So if you want a free one, December is probably going to be the next time where I'll be giving some away. Anonymous LinkedIn user, my book arrives today. Chris Murray just got the Amazon notification. Oh, Chris Murray's book. Oh, I really hope you enjoy it. I honestly couldn't recommend it enough. Someone did a post yesterday, and I can't remember their name for the life of me, but they saw my recommendation, ordered the book, and started reading it, and they sort of felt like they were reading Harry Potter. The reason this is my favorite is not only does it have the best sales insights, but it's wrapped in a story. So it's so enjoyable to read. All of these books, mine included, will teach you how to sell. This book teaches you how to sell, but illustrates it in a really engaging story. So that's why it stands out. So hopefully you will enjoy that as well. Anonymous LinkedIn user. Another anonymous LinkedIn user. When is your next book out? Good question. So for anyone who didn't see me post about this last month, I think it was. No, it was in August. My next book has been sort of signed up with Wiley. So Wiley are going to be publishing it. Wiley, one of the biggest sales book publishers out there, business book publishers. They publish some of my all-time favorite authors and books. So really excited to work with them. I'm in the process of finishing the first manuscript. So I am 2,000 words away from finishing it. It is nearly done. But as it's going through a publisher, it's going to take a little bit longer. So it'll be early next year, hopefully towards the late part of Q1 next year. So March, April time is the goal. But hopefully as we get into the new year, I'll start being able to share a bit more insights into it, hopefully share the cover and sort of start building some momentum. But for anyone who was curious, this is going to be the LinkedIn guide for salespeople. This is going to be everything sales. So my first book, The £1 Million LinkedIn Message, focuses on LinkedIn messaging. This book is going to be the A to Z guide. It's going to have everything LinkedIn in one book. As I say, I'm finishing it now. It's also going to be the most current book. It's going to have LinkedIn stories, LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn polls with ideas. I've put so much into it. So I'm excited, and I hope people enjoy it when it comes out. It's also made me take a huge step up. I self-wrote and published this. Going through a publisher, the standards are significantly higher. So I've had to do a lot of learning and adapting to make sure the book takes that sort of step as well. Okay, I think we've gone through a lot of questions. We're coming up to nearly 50 minutes now on this live. So I'm going to call this a day and let you guys get on with your days, whatever it is you have planned for today. I will try and do another one of these maybe next week, try and do these as regularly as I can. If you've enjoyed it, again, please let me know. It will be donuts, Danishes deep dives with Dan coming back in the next one. Gonna source some good snacks to eat as we go through. But I've enjoyed this personally. Thank you for asking some amazing questions. I hope the answers have been beneficial and helpful. If you have any questions offline, feel free to pop me a message. But I hope you all have an amazing day, an amazing rest of the week, and an amazing rest of the month as we sit here in October. And I look forward to catching up with you all very, very soon. So take care. Happy social selling, and I will speak to you all later.